Hey.
Hola.
So, we're just going to talk about gluten. I feel like that's
What is gluten?
There's a lot about gluten out there.
I feel like people have been talking about gluten forever now, and people are still confused.
And they have reason to be confused. Some people say,
Did you say confused?
I said confused. There's reason to be confused. There is so much conflicting stuff, so we're just going to give you our take on it, and we're going to talk all about gluten.
But, like, all about it, like, a little bit.
Yeah, not that much, because we don't give it that much attention in our lives. But,
do you eat gluten?
So, I don't go out of my way to
avoid
eat gluten.
Or to eat it?
To eat it. Like,
okay.
I think that we're both blessed.
Do you go out of your way to avoid it, or you mean you don't go out of your way?
I think I'm a rare bird that you are too.
Bird.
That gluten doesn't hold like a big, doesn't hold a big thing over me. There are people, and majority of people that are out there.
Hold a big thing over her
means
translation means she's not obsessed with eating foods that contain gluten.
Yes. So I think we've talked about it. Like, I'm down for like zucchini noodles and lentil pasta and other forms of like carb-esque things.
And you don't feel like you're missing out.
And I don't feel like I'm missing out. But I understand that I'm more alone with that than everybody else. I'm
kind of the same way, even within my family. Like, I've never been a big like pasta eater or bread eater, and everybody in my family, like, they're Mexican. They grow up with like Mexican sweetbread, and that's what they want to have for breakfast.
Me, I look at it and I'm like, this is a waste.
Yeah, like well, for me, it's almost like I feel like my history with like food and sweets is like, oh well, if I'm gonna have a piece of kind of sweet bread, I may as well just have chocolate.
So you pick and choose.
So I'm like, that's not sweet enough to warrant like eating it. Like, I'd rather just have something that's really, really good.
In the form of chocolate.
Yeah, in the form of chocolate or candy or ice cream or whatever.
Yeah.
Or cake. Versus.
So that's the thing, like, I think Sophia and I are the right people to ask about this, but we're also the wrong people to ask about it, because I know,
because we don't care about gluten.
We don't care about it. Not that we, I don't think.
Like, neither of us intentionally avoids it, but we've kind of accidentally avoided it because we don't naturally gravitate towards the foods that contain gluten.
Yes.
But before we get into that,
what
is gluten? And essentially, it's just a protein. It's something that's inside of wheat.
Barley, rye. Wheat, barley, rye?
Yeah.
So these foods contain the gluten. Some people react terribly. They're actually allergic, and those people should be avoiding it.
They have an autoimmune disease. Like,
by
people
all
with celiac disease have a legitimate reaction to containing foods with gluten. Like, one that can make them very, very sick.
Yes.
There's people that are sensitive.
And that makes them feel uncomfortable and makes them maybe have some pain, whatever.
And there's people that have no reaction.
And they just want to avoid it. So you have to think about where you fall in this line.
Spectrum.
Like, why are you thinking about gluten? If you're thinking about it because you literally die every time you eat it, go get tested. That's number one. But if you're like, oh, Jenny avoids gluten and she said it made her lose 20 pounds, so I want to go gluten-free, that's kind of the wrong reason to go gluten-free.
And just to interrupt there for a second, Jenny didn't lose 20 pounds because she went gluten-free, and avoiding gluten is the magical pill. She probably lost 20 pounds because she started avoiding all the crap foods that she eats that already contain gluten.
And my experience with Jenny is that
Poor Jenny.
Jenny will
Craig?
I wasn't even thinking about Jenny Craig. Jenny will keep this off for a little while. Follow up with friend Jenny in like 3 months, and once she gets into like the gluten-free foods, donezo.
That's actually true, because people will say, well, okay, so if people go into gluten-free thinking like this is their one way of losing weight, like this is the magic idea, they'll go and they'll buy all this gluten-free stuff and then ask themselves why they're not losing weight.
Yes, so when you look at the ingredients of like gluten-free foods, just go ahead, go to the store, go look at it. It's like potato starch and like tapioca, like really random things. So for my personal thing on this is that if you are gonna go gluten-free for weight loss and you think replacing your 100% organic whole wheat bread and you're replacing it with some potato starch configuration, like, that's just, I don't know, I wouldn't. I don't think it's like, I would rather you go with the real nutrients found in the whole wheat bread than go for like the potato starch, whatever is in it. That's how I think about it.
I think Okay, so first of all, if you want to avoid gluten,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, you need to ideally not think about finding substitutions
Yes.
for foods, but just finding other foods that you enjoy.
Or also like foods that are naturally gluten free. Like I prefer brown rice tortillas. Like I actually love the brown rice tortillas. And those are just a naturally gluten free food. They're not
Like water
yeah.
is not. Don't you just love that advertisement?
I've never seen
This
it.
water is gluten free.
Oh, there's a
Or-
hilarious YouTube video of this Arab lady who's just like, I don't know. I'll explain it later to you. It's hysterical. Like,
Okay.
she reminded me. She like everything is like diet friendly, but it's water, and then you add this and this, and it's all water.
Yeah.
And it's like this miraculous meal thing. Anyways,
Sounds about right.
so yeah, so don't, like Sophia said, don't go and search the gluten-free cookie. Like the fact that it's a gluten-free cookie is
Doesn't
not,
make it healthy.
No. So when people do lose weight off of eating gluten-free, it's that initial like.
It's generally because they're avoiding cookies in general.
Yes. Until they get comfortable and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Sprouts and get me some gluten-free cookies. That's boom, the mistake that we're making. That is where like the problem is. So I think you have to know your why. Why are you concerned with gluten?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gluten isn't fundamentally bad for you. I mean, there's historically people can eat gluten and be totally fine. But what you will find if you look at the differences, for example, between the wheat that we have here in America versus the wheat that they have, for example, in Europe, is that ours is contaminated with other agents that are potentially the reason why so many people in America have sensitivities to our gluten.
There's people that they're like sensitive to it here.
And they'll go abroad.
They'll go abroad and they don't have the digestive issues that they have when they're over there because they're not eating the contaminated wheat that we have here. So
we would generally, I think, say that if you're gonna eat gluten, that you eat it from a source that you can trust that isn't contaminated, and if you can't, that you just don't eat it.
Yeah, and there's alternatives, and get comfortable like trying them. Like there's no reason like you make so many food choices. Like might as well try other forms of.
Yeah, you can live without gluten.
Yeah. But it's not the end all be all, and just because Jenny did it doesn't mean you're gonna find success long term on it.
But saying that, I do feel like our wheat in America is contaminated, and people shouldn't be eating it, ideally.
Yeah.
But if you do want to eat it, just take into account that you may or may not have a reaction to it, so you need to be really aware. If you are concerned with your health, really aware of how you feel after eating products that have gluten.
That's our gluten talk. I hope you, benefit from hearing our take on it, because I think it's a good take. I think we hope that it answers questions from whatever standpoint you're at, like whatever your reasoning for wanting to go gluten.
Absolutely. If you have any more questions, just let us know.
Bye.